way the real wealth is being real with self. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help. It's time to switch it up, put the hip shit on the shelf. Cause the way the real wealth is being real with self. My eyes done seen the glory of the coming of the left. I can't do it by myself, so I'm asking for help.
Money, money, money. That's all you got.
There's nothing wrong with being wealthy.
I know he
Like Kanye West says, having money is not everything, but not having it is. No, Deuteronomy 8:18 says God gives us the ability to create wealth. No, it's the love of money that's the root of all evil. You don't like money so much, why you get up and go to work? Yes, I do think about one of the things that my thing you have to say. I'm just trying to leave a legacy for my family. It's not everything, but when you got it, you can do some cool stuff. And now, your host for Talking Money in the Morning, financial health mentor, the working class, Mr. Shays Background.
Good morning, Black World, and welcome to Talking Money in the Morning Live with your main man, H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, where I do my absolute best to bring practical yet proven wealth-building strategies to working men and women all over this great nation of ours. It's truly an honor, privilege, and a blessing to be coming to you live and direct from the Monetize My Life Academy studios here in St. Louis, Missouri. Guys, if you have a passion, if you have knowledge, a specialized skill set, if you or know how to do something better than most, but you haven't figured out how to package and present that to the marketplace to turn that passion and know-how into income, then you need to consider joining Monetize My Life Academy. Just $20 per month. All things branding and marketing for the solopreneur to turn their passions and know-how into multiple income streams. All you do is go to monetizemylifeacademy.com, put in special coupon code 80% off. That's 80% sign, capital O, capital F, literally everything that you need to transform those passions into profits. Today we have a very special guest. The founder of Color Coded Kids is with us live, so I'm going to bring her out in a second. And she's going to tell you about this wonderful program that she's had in place to start teaching our kids coding. She's got kids coding their very own video games. So that's exciting to me. But let me give you my couple of announcements real quick. If you're checking us out on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Hit the subscribe button and then copy the link to today's show, man, later and share it on your favorite social media timeline. For you guys who are checking us out on Facebook, do the same thing. Go ahead and share the stream now and then remind me to ask those who come on a little bit later to share the stream as well. We've got to get this type of media, this type of news, this type of positive energy, this type of stuff out in the public, man. And the more we share this kind of stuff, we compete with the ratchetness that out there on Facebook. Facebook knows that when you guys give likes, hearts, and all of that kind of stuff, that means that we have some good positive content, and they'll push it out in front of more and more people. So please do that for me. Today's show is also brought to you by Color Coded Kids. It's the program that teaches coding to our children. You're going to hear from their founder today on why it's important to get our children involved in technology at a very early age. I think it's critically important because we're not going back to anything absent technology. The envelope is going to continue to be pressed forward and faster and further. So we've got to get our kids understanding the language of technology as early as possible. And for those of you who are new to the show, I'd like to let you know exactly who the show is for. The show is for risers and grinders only, man. You got to be ready to get up, get out, and get something. And if that's you, this is your show. This show is for legacy builders. If you're trying to leave a legacy for your children and your children's children, then this is your show. But this show is not for the eternal pessimist. If you're the type of person who's got a problem for every solution, this is not your show. If you're the type of person who's got a problem with money, wealth, prosperity, success, then you want to exit stage left right now. We ain't got time to be playing no games with you. So, like I tell you each and every morning, man, if you've never seen a future billionaire before, then I want you to take a screenshot, and watch your boy work because it's going down 2027. It's going to happen. You guys, you can follow me, you can sit on the sideline and watch, or you can get in the game with me, man. But without further ado, I'm super excited. I met this young lady over at the St. Louis Kids Expo where I was repping Young Biz Kids like I always am, man. Hanging out with my man Mikey and Ariel and the other Young Biz Kids, Sister Cosmetics and Mia's cookies and baked goods and just all our plethora of kids. And I ran into this young lady who was teaching coding to kids. I said, you know what? Your story has to be told, even if I can only tell it on my small platform. Let's get you out there. And she agreed, and now she is here. So what I want to do is present to some and introduce to others the one and only Miss Shay Gillespie. How are you doing, young lady? Your camera flipped on us again, so if you can flip it back and flip it back. There we go. Now get it to rotate. Now flip it and it should rotate. There we go. Good deal. Good deal. So Miss Shay Gillespie, I am super excited to have you and to talk to you about what you guys do over at Color Coded Kids. But before you get into Color Coded Kids, just get into you. What tell them your background a little bit. You know, things that you're excited about, why you're passionate about life. Right, you up at 4:45 in the morning, hitting the gym already. Just give them your background, and then we'll get into Color Coded Kids in a second.
Hi, everybody. So I am Shay Gillespie. I am an avid workout. I was telling him I just got up. I was up since 4:30. I get to the gym every day, Saturday, Sunday, and I go and I work out. I do plyometrics and all kinds of things. But I'm passionate about health of the mind, body, and spirit, of course. But then I'm also passionate about leaving a legacy for the kids. So what will the future look like for our African American kids? And for me, I want them to be exposed to as many things as possible. If it's skiing, if it's swimming, if it's traveling, things that are not traditionally in the African American community, I want kids to be exposed to that. And so that's what led me to coding, because of my technology background. So.
Good deal. So you founded Color Coded Kids, and you basically want to teach them coding and give them that dip the toe in the water experience with technology. And tell me, how are the kids responding to it? What ages do you start at, and what is the program parameters and thing? What is that like?
So we start at age. We have workshops for ages as young as 5. So we'll start them and expose them. Oh, sorry about that. My alarm went off. Can you see me?
Yeah,
sorry.
you good.
We start them at age 5, and then there's workshops because the kids are really too young to learn the video game, try how to code their own video game at age 5. But we'll have workshops where they are introduced to coding, and they have little interactive games to play to have little coding outcomes. So we start that at age 5, but then the actual real classes, the 12-week curriculum that we have, we start that at age 8. And the reason being is geometry isn't introduced until the 3rd grade typically. And in coding, there's a little aspects of geometry. So we start at age 8, and you can be 66 if you want to be in our classes. There's really no age limit, but typically for kids, our classes go from ages 8 to 17.
Gotcha. And how are the kids responding? Because one of the things that I know about kids in general, but in particular our kids, they are geniuses, right? We tend to stifle their genius by putting them in the box and getting them into a very regimented, strict situation, and we kill the creativity very early in our children. So how do they respond when they get exposed to that atmosphere and they start to see the unlimited possibilities of technology?
So it's kind of funny. I'll get calls from parents, or I'll talk to parents, and they're like, well, my son really doesn't want to be in the classes, but I'm making him go because I want to expose my child to this sort of thing. And then after the class, I'll get a text saying, my son loves it. You know, so that 95% of the people come back. They absolutely love how our curriculum is ran, the concepts, because we have it in such an interactive, educational but fun way. I make sure that the kids are having fun learning how to code, because coding is challenging, right? It's challenging, but there's ways to make everything fun. And so we've really been mindful of creating a curriculum that the kids are not only learning to code, but actually having fun while doing so. And so we get these texts all the time. The kids love the classes. They are very much engaged. They learn so much. I've heard from parents that their analytical skills at school have increased, that the teachers are noticing differences in their thought process, which is very important. I've even noticed that in my own son. The way his math skills at school have definitely improved because of being exposed to this, to coding and to computer programming.
Right. And I think that's important, man. And that goes back to my earlier statement. See, we introduce a lot of the stuff to our children because the way the school system is set up. It says you have to learn how to read. You have to learn how to do that. And that's because the way it's set up. Well, when you're forcing anybody to learn, they don't learn as well. But like you said, you introduce them to coding. Now they have an understanding of why math is necessary, and they go harder at math in school. And I think that is critically important with what you guys are doing, turning them on to some things that they can see a benefit. Because I will tell you honestly, I saw no benefit for algebra. So I give two rabbits foot about algebra in school because I saw no benefit. Had I been introduced to engineering as a child, then I would say, hey, if I don't know some shortcuts, which all algebra is shortcuts to math, right? Formulas. If I don't know some shortcuts and I want to be an engineer, then it's going to take me all day to write 12 times 12 times 12 times 12 to figure something out when I can plug in a formula and it does it for me. So have you had any of your students come out of the class and really take it to the next level as far as going to college, scholarships, coding some games that we might have heard of or anything like that? Or you guys still kind of developing those kind of success stories?
Yeah, we're still developing those because we just started last October.
Okay.
And so, but some of the older kids have created their own interactive, it's very elementary coding, but they've actually created their own little apps. Like one of the kids, we had this program that we received a grant through the St. Louis intern program, and we were able to, they wanted us to work with kids in the city, underserved communities. So we had these kids come in and we taught them how to create their own app. But it had to be an app. The specifications of it is it had to be an app based on social issues. So one of the kids created an app about saying no to drugs and how do you navigate the school system if you're being asked to take some drug. And it was an interactive app, and it was just really creative. So the kids have done things like that, and now most of the boys want to be in some sort of coding or computer programming. They call me and they're like, what is the next level? Because we have a 12-week program, but then it ends there, and I'm working on some things, but the parents are calling me, the kids are calling, what next? We want more, because after the 12 weeks, we don't have anything else. So we're working on trying to enhance those skills and capitalize on what they've learned in our 12-week program.
Right. So it sounds like if you guys are listening, you guys are hearing this, where is the graduation program for these kids to continue that education? If you have something and you want to deal with some little older kids, they got a little bit more advanced understanding of coding, then we can keep this thing going and graduate them right into another program that is going to keep that interest and keep that going. Robert said he agrees with my sentiment about just exposing kids on the front end to why something is important. And let's talk about this for a second, because again, we talked about a little earlier, stifling our kids' creativity and their imagination. But now you're placing them back into a world where imagination is king, right? Creativity is king. Once you learn the language, there's no limit to what you can create in this world. So that was one creative story. Do you have any others where kids have been just uber creative? Maybe they had some things that you guys couldn't teach them how to do, but their thought process was just out there.
Yeah, the kids, it's amazing how when you expose kids to something different, that the world just opens up for them. So they're just hungry for more. They're trying to learn more about coding, computer programming. They're wanting to know more. And I think it's just so important that they do learn this skill. And I want to come back to the reasons why Color-Coded Kids has, was established, because I think that part is very important. So I've been in technology for the last 15 years. I work for a large technology firm for the last 15 years, and I've just migrated over to sales. And in doing that, I realized how important technology is going to be in the future. Let's just take a step back. If you think about, remember in the 80s, 90s, Blockbuster Video, right? Right. You would go into Blockbuster Video, get a video, go home and watch it. Where's Blockbuster today? The reason why Blockbuster is not around today is because they did not take advantage of technology. There was a digital disruption, and they did not understand that technology was going to be the way, because they could have been the next Redbox. They could have been the next Netflix.
They could have been the first Netflix. Yeah.
They could have been, right. They could have been the first, exactly. They could have been, but they did not see this coming. Right? And so technology is taking over. Every company is a technology company. I was talking to a large credit card firm the other day, and they said they are a technology company. Right. Every company is a technology company right now, because in order to succeed, in order to grow, you are going to have technology. You're going to have to use it. It's going to have to be a daily regimen into your business act, right? And so for the kids, who's going to program those? Who's going to program all these technology, right? Who's going to, as we go into automation, who's going to do that? Right. All the non-minorities, because their parents understood that this was coming, right? No, sir. No, sir. So my job, you know more, or you don't know better, you do better, right? Isn't that the same? So because I see this so much, I see technology growing, and it's going to be the way of life. They have automated grocery stores now. When you walk in the store, there's sensors on everything. You plop in food and you walk out. There's not going to be any cashiers. There's not. So those jobs are going away. Well, who's going to program these, all of these grocery stores and all of this? For me, it is vital to get these kids ready. Yes. It is vital. Yes, I cannot stress it enough. So I am passionate about it. People who know me knows that if it's one thing, if I can do anything to save the future, or help the future, enhance the future, or whatever that is, it's getting these kids ready to where they can make, and these jobs, you get paid. Yes. One of my developers, I have 12 developers. One of them drives a Tesla. Wow. Right? Wow. They are all in demand. They never have to worry about work. Right. Who doesn't want an app created? Who doesn't want a website created? They are constantly in demand. It is not a saturated field. It's not like what field? I don't know what field. Maybe police officer or something. I don't know. It's not like that. It is an unsaturated field where there's so many jobs. And even if there's not a job in a traditional corporation, you can start your own thing. Yeah. As a coder, as a computer programmer, look at Bill Gates, look at Mark Zuckerberg. Look at all these folks who have started their own thing, and now look at them, billionaires. Right. Because of knowing this knowledge, having this knowledge of being able to be a computer programmer. Yeah. And so for me, it is so important, and it's something that I think about every day. how can I enhance the program? How can I make it better? How can I get more kids involved?
Right.
I want to be able to give this to so many kids. It's like a fire burning inside.
No, and you're absolutely.
It's just very important.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And what we tend to do is complain versus adapt. So guys, I want you to write in the chat, if you're on Facebook, write complain versus adapt. That is what we tend to do. We will see the teller job going away at the bank and we complain about it. We see the grocery store clerk job going away at the grocery store and we complain about it. We see the McDonald's jobs going away because they're putting kiosks in the McDonald's and we complain about it. Complain or adapt. If you're going to adapt and they're putting machines in place of humans, then position yourself to be able to care for and maintain and program the machines, and you still have a job. You still have a place in society, and this program does it. And one thing I love, because my good friend Monique, the tech boss lady, right? She's all into this tech, and she's been over it. She teaches A+ and all of that stuff, man. And she's always saying that we've got to position ourselves, because when all else fades away, technology is still going to be there. And guess what? Even though they're trying to make everything automated, there's still going to be some humans required to fix those automated things. Even when they get everybody to where robots are able to fix some things, well, guess what? Somebody's going to have to fix the robots. Right, so
exactly.
So that's cool.
Yep.
And then I want you to touch on this really quickly, because I love that you introduced the kids at 5 years old, right, with little workshops, because coding is a language. It is its own language, and they always say the best time to teach someone a new language is when they're young, right? Do you find that the younger kids can pick it up a little quicker than the older?
They amaze me. They are super duper sharp. So I have classes here in St. Louis. I have classes in Arlington, Virginia, and classes in Houston. Mm-hmm. And so I flew to Houston Monday afternoon because their class is graduating. Mm-hmm. And there's a little boy, his mom, she called me. She's like, my son is very smart, and I really want him in the classes, because normally I start the regular classes at age 8. But he's, I want to say 6.5 or 7. Mm-hmm. This little boy is so smart. Like, he catches on. I think the younger you are, it's just easier to understand, where you don't have this clouded brain like we got, you know, with all bills and mortgage and all that. You got all that in your brain, where these kids, it's like a green field. And so I find that the younger they are, actually, the better they are to understand the concepts pretty easily, you know, because we, like I said, our program is so fun. Our developers are great, and they make learning fun. So the kids really don't think that they're actually learning, but they are. They're really thinking that they're solving little animated projects, you know, and having fun while doing so. So, but I do find that the younger kids, because they're so young and so green, that they do adapt and they understand the concepts and catch on easier. Now, the high school kids are no joke as well, but I do find that the younger you are, the quicker you can adapt and catch on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we do something in the show called the Daily Book Excerpt of the Day. And today's Daily Book Excerpt comes from George C. Fraser. This book right here is called Race for Success. Right now, this book is 20 years old, right? And he gives the 10 best business opportunities for blacks in America. And lo and behold, one of them is technology. The information superhighway and digital technology are providing a new economic and creative outlet for African Americans. This is a perfect arena in which to expand our tremendous creativity by developing new software and moving into positions where we can influence and control the content of the internet and the World Wide Web. NetNor, Melanet, and many other Afrocentric websites and online services are just a few examples. Now, what I want to also say is he looked at, right, we're talking about the 10. He gave technology his own thing, right? But watch this. Education is one of the top 10. 10 years ago, you can't do education in 2017 without technology, right? Finance and banking was one of the top 10s that black people, you can't do finance and banking without technology. Small business development, you can't do that without technology. Publishing and media, all media is now social media, so you can't do that without technology. Urban redevelopment, there's a lot of hands-on and building and things of that nature, but all of that redevelopment is going to be fully integrated with technology. So basically, everything. Out of the 10 best, really it's just one best place for black people to be in. that is technology. So when you break it all down, he listed 10, but really it's one. Yeah. We need to be involved in technology and how to figure out ways in technology in all of these other fields. So you guys, you pride yourself on not only just teaching the coding, but also teaching real world applications of the coding. So you put the kids in little job situations and business owner situations where you can show them how coding can. Talk a little bit about how you guys do that and how do you make for a 8, 9, 10-year-old a job fun in that kind of setting, right? Talk about that.
Yep. So we have we have 3 levels. So level 1 is where you introduce coding to the kids. We introduce the concepts, the fundamentals of coding. We talk about some of the definitions of coding, Boolean values, parameters, variables, all the words that all those in the lexicon of computer programming. Right. And then in level 2, we do the kids are writing code, but then we also have the kids work in groups. So if you're working in an organization and say you want to create the next Panera Bread app or some restaurant app, well, typically they're developers in a group, a team setting, and they work together and do and ideate and come up with the concepts for the app. Right. So we have the kids kind of mimic that. And then we also, once the kids create their outcomes, their programming outcomes, we have them come up to the front of the classroom and present on the outcome. So how did they get to that outcome? And so we're teaching them those presentation skills, those analytical skills, those oral skills, so that the kids can understand that those are transferable. So even if you're trying to interview, to be able to present and sell yourself, so sell us this outcome, you're going to have to do that for the rest of your life, even if you don't get into a technology field.
Right, absolutely.
And so we have them in team environments, and then we also have them do some of these other soft skills that we're teaching them as well.
So that was the level 2. Is that the level 3? So you said there were 3 levels. So that's the that's
then
the third.
I'm sorry. So then level 3, they actually code their own video game. So they have a blank canvas. So now they've learned all they need to know in coding. They've learned the concepts. They've learned how to write code. They learned what it looks like. And then they have a blank canvas and they start coding their own video game. So when I say every piece of that game, they figure out how big they want the ball to be, how fast they want the ball to go, how many lives they get, how much, how many points they get, how big, what colors do they want. I mean, they literally pick it all. Wow. They code their own video game. And it's super fun because then at the end of the lesson, the parents come in and play their kids' video games. So how cool is that?
Man, that is amazing. That is amazing. And I'm always a fan of this kind of stuff for our children. What we tend to do is downplay our children's perceptiveness. We downplay their intellect, their intelligence, and we're always telling our kids to wait for something. And here's my example, and it's a little graphic, but I always talk about the fact that in some third world countries, you have kids as young as 10 years old in militias shooting machine guns. But you would say that you can't teach your kid how to code. We're just gonna wait till they get to high school to even introduce that kind of stuff, man. But our children are so freaking intelligent. You got to get them involved in that. And let's talk about the effects on, in particular, young black boys, because we know that the school system is not designed for the way that we think, act, behave, and take in information. Therefore, when we can't sit still, we're quickly classified as either a troublemaker, hyper, or needing some sort of medicine to calm us down. But you don't have that experience when you're dealing with a class full of young boys and you're teaching them something they want to learn, right?
Yeah, no. And we actually find that the kids who do the best in these untraditional type classrooms of coding and programming are the ones that are not the A students. So the bookworms, they do well in these classes, but the kids who have those issues, the hyper, being too hyper and can't sit down, they usually need something like this because it's working that creativity, the creative side of their brain, not the traditional math, reading, writing, and arithmetic where there's structured tests. This is so unstructured.
Right.
And that's what some kids need. They need something that's not as structured, where they are doing their own thing. They're on the laptop. They're creating their own canvas. They're creating their own thing. And I think we need, as educators, I guess I'll call myself an educator, but we need to understand that not all kids are the same. Right. And not all kids learn the same. I was an okay student, got really, decent grades or whatever, but I knew that I was not a test taker. So ACTs, SATs, if that was the only criteria to get into college, I'd be at Sanford Brown or something. Right. I would have been at the local community college because that wasn't my forte. But when it came to essays and being creative, that was me. That's where I flourished, you know? And so at work, that's where I flourished. I know that about myself. And so if we can tap into and understand that all kids are not the same and be able to piggyback on that. So some of the kids in the classes will need help with presentation, and that's okay. Some of the kids will need help with working in a team, and that's okay. You learn and you understand that it's not black and white. It's always going to be this gray area with kids. And I think as educators, we should understand that and capitalize on that. And as far as our black boys, we have to, it is our duty to be there as and mentor. I got a lot of male developers. Most of the developers that teach the classes are black males. And to see that image, for these kids to see that image in the class, for me, sometimes it's overwhelming. I love that these guys are able to see, positive role models that are not in a typical uniform type position, a blue collar type job. These are actually developers who come to work in their t-shirt and, jeans, but they are making six figures,
And that's amazing to see, because what you get, and I'm sure this is the impression that some of the kids get, is you get to see somebody come into your environment and really pour into you that's really smart, but they cool. Like these guys, they come in here, they just cool people. And for us, especially our black boys, we have been taught that intelligence is somehow uncool. So even as a kid myself, I'd be the kid in the classroom who would never raise his hand, but I'd be whispering the answers to everybody else. And they raise their hand, they get the credit, because I didn't want to be considered a nerd, because that was considered uncool. So now you guys are changing the dynamic, because you are showing or introducing our young black boys to young men who are intelligent, cool, and make a lot of money without throwing a pass, catching the ball, or trying to rap, sing, or dance. Right? That's incredibly important to show kids that model. Now, you didn't mention the company that you worked for. Is that by design?
No, that's no big deal. I can say it.
because I put a post up earlier today on my Facebook page and says Black excellence does exist, but you won't find it always looking for the hookup. So for those who don't know, Worldwide Technology is a Black-owned company here in St. Louis, and it's a multi-million dollar company. And you talk about Black excellence at the highest, and in the realm of technology where we are actually pioneering in an area that most people don't even expect us to be playing in, let alone leading in and pioneering in. Talk about the experience there and the culture there from top down, ownership down, and how you guys are pioneering and breaking grounds and breaking barriers that most people don't even realize and aren't even aware of this Black-owned tech company that is doing amazing things.
So I got goosebumps just even thinking about my job, because I am blessed. I am fortunate to work for the largest minority-owned firm in the country, bigger than Oprah, it's 11 billion. We'll reach 11 billion at the end of the year.
Wow.
And it's a Black man that sits right here in St. Louis, Mr. David L. Stewart. And so he has been my mentor since the very first day that I walked through the doors. I went to I hightailed it to his office because they said he would like to meet you. You know, at that time it was 500 employees, so we were fairly small as opposed to right now with 4,000 employees across the globe.
Right.
But I went into his office, and I'll never forget that conversation. He said to me, now, mind you, just to give you the backstory, I came from AT&T and Bank of America, so two large companies, two large corporations where there's more structure, and this company is more of a small entrepreneurial type company. And he said to me, so listen to me, I work for you. That's what he said. And I looked around like, what do you mean you work for me?
Wow.
I'm 20-something years old, and I said, so I looked at him, and he said, my job is to be a resource to you. Whatever you need to succeed, that's what I will do. Now, I'm blown away. Like, I'm like, what is he talking about? Like, that was foreign language to me. I didn't know. I'm like, well, why does your office look like this? I'm in a queue.
Right.
I didn't understand that. But what he was saying and what he has done, he has held true to that, is whatever you need to succeed, whether it be mentorship, whether it be helping you with the vision and creating a path for you. He would tell me for years, you need to be this, you need to do this. And I'll be like, I can't. And then I'm in the position right now because of him. He told me 5 years ago that I need to get in this position, and I wouldn't do it.
Wow.
And he's like, and so the other day I was talking to him, and I said, I love being in this role. He said, see, didn't I tell you? And I said, well, I was scared. He's like, listen to me. So he's very spiritual. And so we always have these conversations. I always say, I get my master's degree over and over again every time I talk to him, because he gives me so much in terms of business. To just be able to talk to him and pick back ideas off of him, it is tremendous. So I can't take credit for color coded as like I got up one day and was inspired. This man has inspired me. He believes in us more than we believe in ourselves. Even when I'm like, I can't, he's like, yes, you can. So he has inspired me to do all things because of that leadership. And that's the culture of Worldwide. And it's not just me. He didn't pick me out of a bunch. You walk and talk with him, if the cleaning lady is right there, he stops and he has a conversation with her. It's just the way he is. It's not about how high you are. I'm in a leadership role, so it's not about that. It's more so about the person and the connection. Yeah. And so he's taught me a lot just about those little things too that, we may take for granted. Well, I don't need to speak to this person or this. He speaks to everybody. He talks to everybody. He touches everybody. And it has inspired me to want to be the best that I can be. And that's really where the concept of color-coded kids stem from.
Right. And tell me his name again, David?
His name is David L. Stewart.
Stewart. Okay. Yeah.
I have to get you his book. He's got a book where, so our the business is based on the principles of the Bible. So he runs the business, not pushing the Bible down your throat, but the principles. So the morality, so integrity, being humble, teamwork, great attitude, being nice to people. Those are instilled in us, and we are actually graded on those every year.
Wow.
And we have to get a certain grade. We have to get a certain grade. I've seen where they had the best salespeople in a role were making multi-million dollars, but they were let go because they didn't get along with anybody.
Wow.
He does not want any toxic behavior in the culture, in the company, because it brings everybody else down.
It does.
And so we're graded on that every year. And so it's a lot. I could spend hours talking about worldwide technology, but.
And I love that you have come from that environment and you see, and I tell everybody, man, there is not a single thing that when we get it, that we have not dominated. So why isn't more people getting technology? You see what this leader is doing in the world of technology and dominating as the largest and one of few African American owned tech companies that are pioneering things all over the place. And now you're bringing it full circle to make sure that you're introducing our babies to that. So 20 years from now, there will be many, many, many worldwide technologies because of the work that you're doing. But it comes from the influence that he's also had on you. So that's a mark of a great leader is how many leaders they produce. And I can tell he has a tremendous influence on you. We had a question from Facebook. They said, will this program ever become an app-based program where kids can have the opportunity to experience the workshop type experience all over the place? Is that something that you guys are thinking about, how you can put it in the hands of more people if they can't physically come to workshops and things of that nature?
Yeah, we're thinking about it. The challenge is because we have such an interactive platform or a niche, like there's a lot of classes online, Code Academy and things, but the kids work a lot on their own. And sometimes if they're stumped, it's hard to get answers to, some of their questions. And with our classes, it's more interactive, so they get real-time answers to all of their, their challenges that they have.
Right.
So we have been trying to figure out a way to maybe have a virtual classroom where there is a teacher teaching the course, but then they can download an app and be able to have a virtual classroom. We're trying to figure that out because as I mentioned with Blockbuster, if we don't, somebody will.
Right.
Somebody will, and we'll be looking like Blockbuster. So I'm thinking about those types of things, automating it all the time. So, But like I said, I have to work with developers who work full time as well, and then teach the courses part time.
Right.
So, but yeah, we're working on it.
Cool. And this is a screenshot of what the website looks like, guys. Color Coded Kids, CCK. It's an interactive, educational, and fun classroom designed to teach elementary and middle school children the fundamentals of computer programming. This is just flipping amazing, man, that we could have something like this. So let's talk about if the app thing, I know that's in development and you want that because you don't want to have someone else to do that, but how can we help you grow this program so while apps and all that kind of stuff is in development where the program is equally effective in a virtual space, how can we get you in more classrooms around the country? I know you're in partnership with the Microsoft stores. Hint, for those of you who are in the computer space and you have classroom space, we have classroom space at our Young Biz Kids facility with 10 computers. If there's something that we can do to kind of get something going, how can we help you get in more spaces and in front of more people?
So most of the kids, I would say, are coming from underserved communities. And if we could what we're trying to do now is be more strategic instead of tactical about some of the new classes. So what I need really is corporate, or what I'm trying to do now is get corporate sponsorships.
Okay.
So I go to company X, for example, let's just say Worldwide. I go to Worldwide and say, I would like for you to sponsor 20 kids in Jennings or 20 kids in St. Louis Public School. And then if the corporation sponsored the kids, the parents are alleviated of all financial responsibility, and the kids are being taught the courses. So if I can get contracts like that all over the country, that is my goal, you know, to get, and that will increase the exposure to our kids, especially those in the underserved communities, because our classes cost.
Right.
And so a lot of times we don't want finance to be a barrier. We
Right.
are,
Right.
so I am a 501c3. I created 2 lines of business. So one side is a for-profit, but then I have Color Coded Kids Foundation, and I get private donors will send in money for kids so that they can be able to get into the classes. But if I can get corporate sponsorships, that's really where I'm trying to go in 2018 is to get multiple corporate sponsorships all across America so that we can teach as many kids as possible in one 12-week curriculum.
Right. Okay. That sounds really, really good. So if you're on Facebook watching right now, who's got a donation to Color Coded Kids Foundation? Type me in the chat if you got a donation of any size. It doesn't really matter. Type in the chat me. If you want to put in how much, then put in how much. But type in the chat so when Shay goes through the chat, she can reach out to you and tell you what you need to do to get her that donation. But we're so serious, guys. If we don't start supporting programs like this, if we don't start taking money from Charter Communications for my cable bill and funneling it into places like this, then our kids are going to continue to grow up on the junk that they have on TV and never get involved in a program like this, a program like Young Biz Kids, and all the other wonderful programs out there that you can really get take a hold of. So if you are in St. Louis, then the classes are held at the Microsoft Store in the Galleria, right? What about those in Houston? Where is that location in Houston?
In the Microsoft Store in the Galleria Mall in Houston.
It's the Galleria Mall in Houston, and then what about Arlington, VA?
In the Pentagon City Fashion Center Mall.
Pentagon City Fashion Center Mall. So they're all in Microsoft stores, but you have to find the right one. Pentagon City Fashion Mall in Arlington, VA. The Galleria Mall in Houston, and the Galleria Mall here in St. Louis, Microsoft Store. If you go to colorcodedkids.com, she has links to the different divisions and branches, and you can find out more information about that.
And Atlanta next, and Dallas next.
Atlanta and Dallas on the way. Listen, tell us honestly, what does it cost to sponsor a kid for 12 weeks?
So the 12-week curriculum is $300. So it's $100 a level. So level 1 is 100, level 2 is 100, and level 3 is 100. And I almost always have a discount if you pay in advance. So it's typically I'll have a 20% off discount, and that's what I can put that on the website. It's for your listeners. Right. If anybody in St. Louis, Arlington, or Houston would like to join the classes, we will have new classes in January in each of those locations. I will give a 20% discount to all of you for signing up.
Okay, so I've got somebody wants to sponsor a kid. This is just an individual person just saying, I will sponsor a kid. So that's why I would ask him, what does it cost to sponsor a kid? So yeah, we have some really good people who tune in, and we're all, the premise of what we do is we focus on building wealth personally so that when we're personally financially successful, we can do more in our communities. So that's what you're witnessing. One of our people in Houston said she would love to sponsor a kid. So so we're going to make that happen. So we'll talk offline about some links and stuff you can give me that I can add to the description and all that, because Tawana is actually in Houston. So she wants to sponsor a kid. Good deal. So corporate sponsorship, guys, if we want to and expand, go to your company's HR and say, who's in charge of donations and things of that nature, and say, hey, I need you guys to take a look at this program called Color Coded Kids. If you work for a fairly large company that's willing to do that, if you work for a small mom and pop, hey, I need you to look at sponsoring one child in this program. It's just amazing. And so do that for us, guys. Get out to your HR departments. All corporations have funds allocated for their fundraising and their philanthropic efforts, right? Find out what the criteria are. Most of them have certain set of goals that they like to just donate to certain causes. Some of them like cancer research, some of them like United Way. Find out if your company is involved in tech and like to support and grow technology type stuff. If so, here's a great opportunity for them to sponsor or invest. If most companies have a passion for inner city or underprivileged children, right? This is a program that serves underprivileged children. So talk to your folks at your job about who she needs to submit her paperwork to solicit some sponsorship for this wonderful program and help to grow expansion. Individual donations. I had a lot of me's. Let me just go back to the me's real quick so you'll get an idea. Michelle says me. Paul says yes. Let's see. Tawana says me. Monica says me. Paul says me. Yvette says me. Max says me. So tons of people willing to make a donation to help you further and grow and expand your
y'all
cause.
bringing tears to my eyes.
Yeah, we want to make this thing what we see. We can tell what you see this thing being. So we want to help you get there.
Thank you.
So tell us really quickly. Anything else? We're down to our last 6 minutes. So what's on your heart? What's on your mind? Where's the program going? What else do you need? Sponsorships. We know got that. You need promo. That's why I wanted to have you on the show. Yvette D. Best says, I want to sponsor a child. So
Okay.
let's
you know what? Actually, the way we're going, we're evolving. I've had a lot of adults call me saying, are you going to have a class for us, specifically for us? So I was just talking to one of my developers. He came in my neighborhood trick-or-treating with his kids last night. And I said, we need to meet because there's too many adults wanting to have these classes too. So we're coming soon will probably be an adult class to where we're teaching them JavaScript, HTML, CSS, the same things that we're teaching the kids. Yeah. So, but that's one of the things that I see in the future. Like I said, just really capitalizing on being more strategic in 2018, right? To where it's not these, one by one, which is fine. But if I can get corporate solicitation, because like you said, they all have a charge as it relates to STEM. So the Boeings of the world, MasterCards of the world, they all have an initiative from their leadership that where they're trying to get more STEM programs in underserved communities. Because they do realize that there's a gap. And they do realize in order for the economy to continue to grow, it needs to have a diverse supplier base and consumer base. Who's buying your products, AT&T? Right. Who's buying your products, Nike? How are they going to buy your product if they don't have a job? Right. They understand that. They understand that in order for us to continue to grow as a nation, you gotta diversify education and you gotta even out that playing field as quickly as possible and expose as many kids as possible to technology and all these fields that they weren't traditionally exposed to. Right. Financial Wealth Advocate says she would like to sponsor a child as well. So sponsorships are continuing to roll in for children. I'm going to work with our kids and Young Biz Kids to see which of them are techie savvy, and we're going to sponsor some kids for 2018 as well. So we'll figure out, because what we do is we teach entrepreneurship. Well, some of those entrepreneurs are, tech savvy. They want to get into technology. So those, some of them create their own products, some of them bake goods, some of them making cosmetics and things of that nature. So those that want to try technology, then we're going to sponsor some kids for 2018 as well. And learning to code will create by default entrepreneurs. It will. If you understand that, it will create by default when
Yeah.
you have that skill.
Robert says, how many times a year does the program run classes? How many classes do you graduate every year?
We start every month. Pretty much, we start a new class every month.
So in one of those 3 locations, a new class is starting pretty much every month.
Pretty much every month. Yeah.
Okay.
We last summer we took off for 3 months, but we did a summer camp. That was why.
Summer camp. Okay.
But typically every month we're starting new classes.
A new class is starting.
Keep classes. I'm actually in the classroom in Florissant right now because there's so many minorities out here in Florissant who don't want to drive to Chesterfield just to get a STEM class, or the Galleria Mall. So we have classes here in Florissant. That definitely goes over well. We have classes, multiple classes starting every month at here in Florissant.
Gotcha. Okay, good deal. So yeah, you got tons of sponsorships from our viewers and listeners. So I appreciate all of you guys for jumping in to help and to grow this program, because it is, I mean, we're talking about our children's future, and this is what we want. But you guys know what time it is. It is time for us to go beyond the stream. That means Shay and I are going to talk off camera about some other amazing things that you guys don't get access to unless you pay for it, right? So you can buy the Beyond the Stream for all my phenomenal female entrepreneurs and my my Brothers Keeper speaker series. So I have the men who do my Brothers Keeper speaker series, and I have the women as my phenomenal female entrepreneurs. So last word, and then we're going to cut the stream off on Facebook. We'll chat a little bit, and then I'll let you go. Last words.
Sign up, colorcodedkids.com. We are coding the future in color.
I love it. Coding the future in color. I am H. Cortez, the one and only financial health mentor to the Black community. You've been listening to and learning from Shay Gillespie, founder of Color Coded Kids. Until we talk to you guys tomorrow, where we'll do part 3 of our series. Part 1, we did I am whatever you say I am, how to deal with criticism. Part 2, we did I am whatever I say I am, the power of the spoken word. Part 3, tomorrow, I am whatever he says I am. We're going to take it to a whole nother level. We're going to take it to church tomorrow, y'all. So you want to tune in tomorrow. So until we talk to you then, I want you to get your money up, because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, y'all, you deserve it. Peace out. All right. So that kills the stream. So what I always
use the restroom.
Okay.
I'll be right
Okay.
back.
All right. Cool.
Be right back.
I always forget to kill y'all on YouTube, but you don't get behind the screen, behind the stream either.